Because what we are being told is in just a short while, the program will be to inaugurate the Statue of Equality, and Prime Minister himself, while he took to social media site Twitter, said this is a fitting tribute to Sri Ramanujacharya, whose sacred thoughts and teachings inspire us. And while we'll just go across to our reporters in a short while, this appears to be the starting ceremony there, a religious ceremony that the Prime Minister is currently participating in. And it's very important. Remember, the timing of this ceremony and this event is also important. It appears that it's going to be 11th century Bhakti Saint Sri Ramanujacharya that is being the statue that is going to commemorate precisely also with regard to the massive unveiling. It's a 216 feet tall statue of equality is what we are being told, and that he primarily because he promoted the idea of equality in all aspects of living, including faith, caste and creed. This statement has come from the Prime Minister's office. The statue, if I must just add here, while this ceremony is on, is made of a combination of 5 metals, Panchaloha as it is called, which includes gold, silver, copper, brass and zinc. And if with the statement that is to be believed, it is going to be among the tallest metallic statues in the world in the sitting position. So that's also a landmark that is being set with the Statue of Equality. It's going to be mounted on a 54 feet high base building, which is being called as the Bhadravedi. The building also, just to add here, has floors meant for a Vedic digital library and research center. That research center is going to include ancient Indian texts, also a theatre, an educational gallery where the works of Sri Ramanujacharya will also be included. And after this ceremony concludes, a 3D presentation mapping the life and teachings of the saint will be showcased during the program. For those who may not know, Sri Ramanujacharya is a very popular saint, specifically in the state of Telangana, and is known to have worked tirelessly for the upliftment of people. The focus was on equality regardless of gender, race, caste, creed. And inauguration of this statue is actually a 12-day celebration. And because of the 1000th birth anniversary is the timing why this is so significant, and the unveiling is not just on a random day but is going to commemorate with regard to the 12-day celebration of the 1000th birth anniversary. Now, apart from this, there is also, it's already been a part of the itinerary that there will also be 50th anniversary celebration of the International Crop Research Institute, which also the Prime Minister had mentioned before he left for Hyderabad. Narendra Modi So let's just stay with the visuals and, of course, the sound of the hymns and chantings coming in as Prime Minister has landed there. Sri Vishwakshenesya Aradhana Karma Sampurnata Siddhyartham Sakala Devata Triptyartham Purna Udiho Mangarishe Om And in just a short while, in fact, towards the left of your screen, as that on that graphic, you can also see, apart from some of the special mentions about the statue, the figure of the statue. Remember, it's on a 54 feet high base building, and in itself, as we'll show you just in real life how the statue looks like there on the site, it is going to be one of the tallest metallic statues in the sitting position. It's actually 216 feet tall statue, and is being called Statue of Equality for the reason because the saint had specifically worked tirelessly for the upliftment with regard to it does not matter, irrespective of someone's caste, creed, gender, and specifically of times when casteism would have been at its peak. Mohit Sharma is there on the location. So, Mohit, as we can see as the visuals on your screen, from that location, Prime Minister just concluding with that religious ceremony. And donning, as it appears, of course, a massive scarf and the attire that he has, and he's likely to be now proceeding towards the stage. And a golden and a blue, as I can see, a mund and a shawl sort of that he has wrapped around him. And he's heading right now. I think the ceremony is still on. What are you picking up from the location? How many people there? What time is the Prime Minister expected to speak? It's very interesting to see how the priests talking to Prime Minister Narendra Modi right now has a shield on his face, a COVID shield protector. So that's also a very interesting aspect that can be mentioned here. Over to you, Mohit.
Absolutely, what the Prime Minister is donning at the moment. It's a traditional dress to wear when you are performing religious rituals, and that's precisely what the Prime Minister is wearing right now. And it's taking part in Puja at this particular point. There's of course the festival, the festival in its entirety began here at the 14th very near to Hyderabad, which marks the 1,000 years of birth anniversary of Ramanujacharya. And more importantly, the Hawa is also the kind of work that Ramanujacharya did for towards the upliftment of the people with respect to the caste, creed, gender.
As we see the Prime Minister here and the ceremony being conducted there, and it appears the senior most priest there of the ashram also standing just right next to the Prime Minister. Do you see the Chief Minister, CM KCR, there on the location yet? Is there a plan of him arriving at the site as the statue will be unveiled of the Bhakti saint?
So, what I can tell you is that we've not yet seen this campaign. It's highly unlikely that we would be coming here at the unveiling the statue ceremony as well. It speaks volume as well because this is completely against the protocol. Usually, the Chief Minister not only receives the Prime Minister, at the same time, you would also see him accompanied such huge events, and you have the Prime Minister also taking part in the rituals.
Yes.
We do not see here, and that's clearly a direct message perhaps also coming in from the CM himself that he is not taking care. And right now, what you see on it is the chief priest who's actually speaking to the Prime Minister, telling him what is actually the meaning of this ritual, telling him as to what exactly are the kind of stands.
Stay on with me, Mohit, and I just want to add here one of the reasons we have our reporters right now on the phone, and we'll shortly go across to them for a live report as well on air because they have the statue behind them. But one of the reasons is there are jammers there at that location. So that also is one of the reasons that we have them on the phone line for now. Ashish also is there right on the ground. Ashish, take us through the itinerary, the plan, the schedule of Prime Minister. He's arrived here, a religious ceremony on. What's next after this?
Yes, Pooja, you are absolutely right. It's Vasant Panchami. It's Vasant Panchami, and keeping that in mind, Prime Minister Narendra Modi is wearing yellow dress. And in fact, you can see behind Prime Minister is Governor of Telangana and Puducherry. Tamilisa is on there, and she is also wearing yellow. Currently, Prime Minister is participating in the Purnahuti event of this Statue of Equality inauguration. So after this Purnahuti event, Prime Minister will come inside the premises of the Statue of Equality, which is spread in almost 45 acres of compound. Here, 108 temples are established. All temples represent each Deva-Peeth spread across the country. Prime Minister will visit all these temples, 108 temples, and then further he will proceed to the statue. He will do Aarti there, then he will offer prayer, and further he will address nation and dedicate Statue of Equality to the nation, Pooja.
Okay, so Ashish is basically telling us what is expected in just a short while. It's a very packed schedule. In fact, what Ashish is telling us is very important, that he's reached the Yagshala, he's visiting that, and this is after he arrived at the helipad. After that, there will be a Purna Ahuti. And just in about the next 1 hour maximum, there will be, of course, the 108 temples that also he's telling us that have been recreated around the statue. So, of course, he will be briefed about that as well. He'll visit those temples, visit the golden deity there, and then Prime Minister will reach the main Statue of Equality. And, you know, we are constantly telling you of why this is important. Of course, the connection is the 1000th birth anniversary and the ongoing celebrations of that, of the saint. But this is no other saint. For many people who may not know, Bhakti saint, specifically Sri Ramanujacharya, was working for removing all social evils, against any sort of caste discrimination that existed, to have equality for all, and of course the focus on whether it was the religious scriptures, the ancient texts, and that is why a research center has been put there as well. But Ashish, as you were telling us, Mohit also continues to be with us. Just a short while ago, the controversy was of Chief Minister not arriving there to meet the Prime Minister when he arrives on the helipad. So, who then came eventually? If you can just tell us about that arrival, and then, of course, now the ceremony that is still on here in Hyderabad.
Pooja, if we talk about the representation from Telangana outside, Telangana government has appointed a state animal husbandry minister, Talasemi Srinivas, who received Prime Minister at Rajiv Gandhi International Airport. And then, when Prime Minister will leave Hyderabad, he'll also be the minister sending off Prime Minister from Hyderabad. But interestingly, Chief Minister K. Chandrasekhar Rao, his office has told us that he is not feeling well. So he has kept himself away from Prime Minister's event. Apart from K. Chandrasekhar Rao, the Chief Minister of Telangana, his minister's son, T.T. Rama Rao, he is also not present in this event. His nephew and finance minister, state finance minister, T. Harish Rao, who is also not present in this event. Apart from nephew Harish Rao, Rajya Sabha MP, and again nephew of Chief Minister K. Chandrasekhar Rao.
Tell us and our viewers, yes, about this ceremony as well. It's very interesting. I understand you're telling us about who arrived, what the political status of it. But if you can, for a short while, stay on this. It's very interesting because this is an elaborate ceremony as it appears, Ashish. It's not just that he came, he bowed down, offered prayers and left. I can see that there's a Havan that is on, and the Prime Minister is offering prayers, and it's already been a few minutes that he's been offering prayers here.
Yes, so currently Prime Minister is participating in the Purnahuti event. This is the Yagya Shala. Here 1035 Yagya Kunda is created, and these 5,000 Vedic scholars from across country, they were called in for the Yagya. Today, after this Purnahuti, this Yagya will complete. So Yagya was started on 2nd of February. Since then, these Vedic scholars, 5,000 Vedic scholars, they were doing different kind of rituals, chanting Vedic mantras on 1035 Havan Kundas. They were performing yagna. Now Prime Minister is participating in the Purnahuti event of this yagna. He is now doing the aarti of Lord here. And Chinnajaya Swami, you can see behind him the main Guru, Vaishnava's son. Chinnajaya Swami is here behind Prime Minister, guiding him, helping him in the entire process. So Prime Minister now just completed the aarti, and he is now offering prayers here and participating in the Purnahuti.
Ashish, that the Chief Minister has already has been at the location, so it's not that he's not even visited the statue. He's seen the statue, and because there were some photographs that I did see earlier. So is that correct? Can you elaborate on that, or is it the first time that this is being unveiled or inaugurated, so to say, officially? Because for Prime Minister himself to come down and unveil the statue is, of course, of huge significance in itself.
Yes, on Thursday, in fact, Chief Minister K. Chandrasekhar Rao visited this Statue of Equality. He roamed around the entire campus. He inquired about all the arrangements, and it was very much expected till this afternoon that Chief Minister will come and at least participate in the inaugural event here at Statue of Equality. But his office says that Chief Minister is not keeping well. He is sick, so he could not able to participate and join in this event here, where Prime Minister will dedicate a Statue of Equality to the nation.
Mohit and Ashish continue to be with us on the phone line. We can see the senior most priest at the ashram currently briefing, and now a garland being put on the neck for Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Remember, these are basically just sort of formalities, welcoming him, presenting him with some of the mementos, and of course religious ceremony also is in place by the senior most priests there at the ashram. But as I go across now to Mohit, we are staying with these visuals of the ceremony, and as I can see that apart from this, what Ashish also was telling us earlier, Ashish, in fact, I'll want to come to you for that. How big is the area for where this ashram has been set up? Because if the statue in itself is 216 feet long and a 54 feet high base building, which is called the Bhadravedi, clearly the acres and the space of this ashram by itself would have been of a lot of money that has been put into it to keep it, maintain it, and of course set it up.
Yes, Pooja, you're absolutely right. So this entire process of building or constructing this Statue of Equality started in fact long back in 2014 in fact. In 2014 the Bhumi Pujan was done, and since then the construction was on. This particular main statue has 216 feet high. Apart from that, this entire campus is spread in 45 acres of land. The proposal is that this land will be developed as a destination for all those who want to learn and understand the teaching of great Saint Ramanujacharya. Ramanujacharya was a great saint who brought equality among in spite of different caste, creed and religion. He only talked about it. He always taught equality, and that's why this statue is called Statue of Equality. So Sant Ramanujacharya's teaching will be displayed here. This is a 3-story structure. At the top, it's a huge statue, 216 feet huge statue. At the first floor of the statue, there's a gold statue, similarly replica made of gold, is kept for the daily prayers. And at the ground level, there's a huge reading library and a display pictures set up where one can go and understand the teaching of Sant Ramanujacharya.
I'll just give you a breather there and we'll stay with this ceremony that's on, where prayers being offered by the Prime Minister, and importantly, of course, the head priests, while chanting the mantras, also explaining the significance, the relevance of the chantings and mantras. And let's just stay with these visuals for a few seconds. All right, so here's the ceremony, just one part, and namaste is being exchanged as Prime Minister Narendra Modi, currently wearing that traditional attire, and as I understand from what I can see, appears to be a golden and blue mund and a shawl over it. Of course, garlands as well, that was just now given by the head priest to the Prime Minister. He's now headed out, accompanied by, of course, the security and the priests there. After this, we are being told that it's not just directly that he's going to go and unveil the Statue of Equality, as it will be called, of the Bhakti saint, but there are some other temples, about 108 temples, that have possibly been recreated, so to say, around the statue. He's going to take a brief round of that. So let's take a look. See, that's the top angle shot that we have right now to help you understand how the location is. And they're accompanied by the priest still talking to them. And of course, the strict security as there is around the Prime Minister, sitting in his vehicle now and will be heading towards.